Happy Easter 2020, an Easter that we will always remember. So hopefully this morning you got lots of Easter eggs in your basket, and hopefully they were full with your favorite candies. But I want to talk about something being empty. I want to talk about what was empty on Easter morning. So let's go backwards a little bit. We know that Jesus had a miraculous birth, at which time we celebrate Christmas. We know that he had a flawless life. He lived a sin-free life. And that life led into an incredible ministry. But at the end of his ministry, he was crucified. And 3 days later, he was risen from the tomb. The tomb was empty. So remember on this Easter morning that if you got an empty egg, that egg can represent an empty tomb. Because Jesus right now is sitting at the right hand of God, waiting for his second coming. So during these times of uncertainty and a time we're spending a little too much quality time with those that we love, make sure that you keep Jesus first. Make sure that you are reaching out and celebrating his resurrection. Have a great day.
Happy Easter, everyone. I know this year Easter is a little bit different, but hopefully we'll be together again soon. So today I'm going to read the true story of Easter. It was almost Passover, and everyone in the land of Judea was getting ready for this special Jewish holiday. Jesus was in Galilee with his disciples, the friends who followed him as he traveled and preached. He said to two of his followers, "Find me a donkey that I can ride into Jerusalem for the Passover celebration." The disciples were worried about Jesus riding into Jerusalem. The men who ran the city did not like Jesus' teachings about God. People said Jesus was king, and the men who were in charge did not like this idea at all. But Jesus told everyone not to worry. He said something special was going to happen and asked his followers to have faith in him. So Jesus went on his donkey into Jerusalem, and many people followed. The people of Jerusalem were happy. They heard Jesus was coming. They broke off palm branches and threw them in the street as Jesus came to celebrate the arrival of the Son of God. But the city leaders were not happy. They believed Jesus was a troublemaker and were afraid of what he might do. They decided maybe they needed to arrest Jesus, just to keep the city under control. Jesus told his followers to prepare a special supper for them all, in honor of Passover. The supper was held in the upper room of a house in Jerusalem. Here Jesus showed his friends how to share bread and wine in his name. He said that by doing this, they would always be together forever. After the supper, Jesus and his disciples went up to the Mount of Olives. They went into a garden called Gethsemane, where Jesus wanted to talk to them and pray. He said that before dawn he would be arrested. The disciples cried when they heard this news and begged Jesus not to let it happen. Jesus prayed to God for help. But before dawn the next morning, Jesus was arrested. Guards came and took him away. He went on trial and was sentenced to die. Jesus was nailed to a cross on a hill, in between two thieves who had also been arrested and nailed to crosses. The thieves were very afraid, but Jesus comforted them. Many of Jesus' friends and followers ran and hid on this sad and terrible day. But his mother Mary and another follower, Mary Magdalene, stayed to show their love for Jesus. After he died, some of Jesus' followers cleaned his body and laid it in a tomb. Some of the other men rolled a big stone across the opening. They were very sad and did not know what to do without Jesus, their leader. A few days later, Mary Magdalene went to visit the tomb. To her surprise, the stone was rolled away and the tomb was empty. A man came up to her then and kindly asked if she was all right. Mary turned to look at the man and could not believe her eyes. It was Jesus. Mary ran back to the other disciples with the news. They rushed to the tomb to see for themselves, and there was Jesus, alive and well. Jesus told them that he had returned from the dead to share God's blessing of eternal life. He told the disciples they must travel the world, sharing the message and asking people to join them in the love of God. Ever since that day long ago, the love of Jesus Christ, his message of God's eternal love, and the promise of life everlasting have brought joy and hope to people everywhere. And that is the true story of Easter. I hope everybody has a safe and happy Easter, and hopefully we'll all be together again soon. Happy Sunday, and I love y'all. Bye.
Hey Blair.
Hey Sam, this Zoom stuff is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to see my friends without it.
Are you excited for Easter?
Easter's just not the same this year.
Well, what do you mean?
With all this quarantine stuff.
Yeah, I guess it will be a little different.
My mom won't even let me get a new dress.
A new dress?
Every year for church, on Easter, I get a new dress. But no church, no dress.
Well, we still have service. It'll just be online.
Tried that. Mom still said no.
I don't mind. It just means I get to go to church in my pajamas.
Yeah, but we'll miss the egg hunt.
Yeah, that was usually pretty fun.
I was hoping to get lots and lots of candy.
That's what you're worried about? What about the people or the Easter story?
Blah, blah, blah. We're talking candy here. Chocolate, jelly beans.
Wait. Chocolate jelly beans?
No, chocolate and jelly beans, Peeps and Skittles and candy bars.
I do love Skittles, but there's so much more to Easter than just candy and eggs and a new dress.
Like what?
Even though we're celebrating a little different than last year, it's okay. It's the world's most powerful story, and yet it's so simple. So simple it could be told with laundry.
In the beginning, God created everything. He formed people in His very own image. But then, we turned away from God. Sin entered the world, like a dark stain. Still, God loved us so deeply that He made a plan to rescue us. At just the right moment, God sent His very own Son, Jesus, to live among us. Jesus healed hearts and minds and bodies. Thousands gathered to hear Him teach. Instead of giving lots of new rules, Jesus turned things upside down by making it simple. Love God, love others. After 3 years of traveling and teaching, Jesus and His disciples entered Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover feast. Huge crowds gathered to welcome Him. But while the crowds cheered for Jesus, the religious leaders made plans to arrest Him. He was turning their world upside down, and they wanted Him gone. As Jesus celebrated the Passover meal with His friends, He told them that He would be leaving, but would return. His friends didn't understand. That night, one of Jesus' followers, Judas, led soldiers to arrest Him. The religious leaders gave Jesus a fake trial and then sent Him to Pilate, the Roman governor, who could have Him killed. Pilate found Jesus had broken no law and tried to release Him. But a mob called for Jesus to be killed. Pilate gave in and handed Jesus over to the Roman soldiers. Jesus was forced to carry the heavy beams of His own wooden cross. On a hill called Golgotha, the soldiers nailed Jesus' hands and feet to the rough wood. The soldiers and people who passed by laughed and mocked him. But from the cross, Jesus asked God to forgive them. Finally, Jesus called out, "It is finished." Then he died. The earth shook. Rocks split open. Even the soldiers cried, "Surely he was the Son of God." One of Jesus' followers took his body and placed it in a tomb cut from the rock. A huge stone blocked the entrance. Jesus' friends were devastated. They had believed that Jesus was the one God promised, the one who would rescue them, but now he was gone. Their whole world had turned upside down. Jesus' friends stayed hidden in fear for 3 days. But early Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene, a close friend of Jesus, hurried to the tomb. She planned to anoint Jesus' body with special spices. As Mary neared the tomb, she saw the stone had been rolled away. The tomb was empty. Mary turned to see a man standing near. She didn't recognize him until he said, "Mary." It was Jesus, alive. Jesus told her, "Do not hold on to me. I have not yet ascended to the Father. Instead, go to those who believe in me." Jesus, God's Son, became like us to lay down his life. Through God's power, he defeated death for all of us, and sin was washed away. One day, he's promised to return, so we can live with him forever.
You see, clothes, eggs, and candy are nice, but this is so much more.
I guess you're right.
I knew you would come around.
Hey, you don't think they'll cancel Easter next year, do you?
I don't think so. Why?
Never too early to start dress shopping.